The wind howled through the red trees of planet Cather. Thick vines hung like snakes, and the sky burned with two suns. The air was hot, heavy, and full of danger. Jera stood on top of a high rock, looking down at the quiet jungle. Her black armor was cracked and old, but it still protected her. Her white eyes glowed, and her silver hair danced in the wind. She wasn't afraid. Not of this world. Not of anything. The others feared her. The local villagers called her the Monster Girl. They whispered behind walls and hid their children when she walked by. "She comes from the death world," they said. "She doesn't feel pain. She doesn't cry. She's not one of us." But they didn't know her story. Jera was born on Vortex, a planet where the rain could melt metal and the animals hunted machines. Her people, what was left of them, had adapted to pain. Only the strongest survived. And Jera? She had survived everything. Now, she lived alone in the wilds of Cather, away from the cities. The alien council had paid her to hunt beasts that no one else could kill. But even they didn't trust her. They only called her when they were desperate. She didn't mind. She didn't need anyone. That's what she told herself, until that day. She saw smoke. Thin, black smoke rising over the trees, about 2 clicks north. Her sharp eyes narrowed. Another ship crash? She whispered. She jumped down the rock, landing without a sound. Her boots crushed dry leaves as she moved through the trees like a ghost. The jungle hissed and creaked around her, but she didn't stop. After 20 minutes, she reached a small clearing. There it was, a human ship half buried in the dirt, metal ripped open like paper. Fire licked the sides, but the fuel was almost gone. Jera's heart thumped harder than usual. She hadn't seen a human in years. Humans came from Earth, another death world, like her own. She had heard stories. They were tough, clever, dangerous, but weak compared to her. Still, something pulled her closer. She moved around the wreck and stopped when she saw him, a human. Man, maybe in his 30s, lay half outside the cockpit, covered in blood and dirt. His chest moved slowly. He was still alive. Jera stared at him for a long time. Why was he here? Earth was far away. No one from there ever came this deep into Cather. And no one survived this jungle unless they were strong. Is this a trap? She muttered, eyes scanning the trees. No movement, no soldiers. Just the sound of the jungle breathing. Jera walked closer and knelt beside the man. He was unconscious, but his face was calm. Not scared, not broken. His left arm was twisted, and his leg was bleeding badly. She frowned. Why am I helping him? She reached for him anyway, lifting his body with ease. He was heavier than she expected, full of muscle. She carried him to a hidden cave nearby, a place only she knew. A waterfall covered the entrance. Inside it was cool, quiet, and dry. Jera laid him on the stone floor and lit a small fire. She stared at the human again. His short brown hair was wet with sweat. His face was scarred from past battles. His hand twitched once, but he didn't wake. Jera opened a pack and cleaned his wounds. She used old herbs she found in the jungle, things that only worked on Deathworlders. As she worked, she whispered to herself, "He'll probably die by morning." But in her heart, she wasn't sure. This one felt different. Outside, the jungle growled. A death beast howled in the distance. Jera stood and grabbed her long blade. She walked to the cave's entrance and waited. If anything came, she would protect the human. Why? She didn't know, maybe because, for the first time in her life, she wasn't the only Deathworlder. Jera sat near the cave wall, sharpening her blade with a stone. Outside, the jungle whispered. Somewhere far off, a death beast roared again, but it didn't scare her. She had killed stronger things. Inside the cave, the human was still asleep. His breathing was slow but steady. His body had lost blood, yet he lived. That surprised her. No one should survive a crash like that. Especially not here. She stood and walked toward him, studying his face in the firelight. His chest rose and fell like a calm wave. His skin was pale. His body covered in bruises and cuts, but his jaw was strong, his hands rough. Soldier's hands. Suddenly, his eyes opened. Jira stepped back, blade half raised. The human blinked slowly, then sat up with a groan. He looked around, confused but not panicked. Then he looked at her. They stared at each other. Jira broke the silence. "You should be dead," he coughed. His voice was rough. "That's what they always say." Jira didn't laugh. "Who are you?" He wiped blood from his lip. "Jack. Sergeant Jack Carter, Terran Command." Jira tilted her head. "You're from Earth." He nodded, then winced from pain. "Yeah, you?" She hesitated. "Vortex." Jack's eyes narrowed. "That's a death world." "So is Earth," she replied. He smirked. "Not like yours." Jira sat across from him. Her blade still rested near her hand. "Why are you here?" Jack sighed. "Classified. My ship was hit. I crashed." "Why this planet?" she asked. He stared at the fire. "I was hunting something." Jira's eyes narrowed. "What kind of something?" Before he could answer, the cave trembled slightly. A growl echoed from outside. Jira stood up, eyes sharp. She grabbed her blade and moved to the cave mouth. "Stay down. Something's coming." Jack, instead of hiding, got to his feet limping, bleeding, and still weak. "What are you doing?" she asked coldly. He picked up a long metal pipe from the cave floor. "Helping. You'll get yourself killed." Jack gave her a crooked smile. "Maybe, but I won't hide behind someone else." Jira blinked. That surprised her. No one ever tried to fight beside her. Most ran, even trained warriors. Then the death beast appeared. A six-legged monster with black fur, glowing red eyes, and bone blades on its back. It stood taller than both of them. Drool fell from its mouth. It roared. Jira moved first, charging with her blade. The beast swung its claw, and sparks flew as steel met bone. Jack didn't run. He ran toward it. She screamed, "Stay back, idiot!" But Jack didn't listen. He rolled under the beast, swung the metal pipe, and smashed it into the creature's leg joint. A crunch. The beast howled in pain and stumbled. Ira took the chance. She jumped, landed on its back, and drove her blade deep into its neck. Blood sprayed. The beast fell. Dead. Ira jumped off, breathing hard. She looked at Jack, expecting him to collapse, but he just wiped sweat from his face and said, "Not bad for a weak human, right?" Jira stared, not just because he survived, but because he fought. "Why did you help?" she asked. Jack sat down, holding his side. "Because we were both going to die if I didn't." "But you could have let me handle it," Jack smirked. "Yeah, but what fun is that?" Jira didn't smile, but something inside her shifted. She had always believed no one could match her. That she was alone, different, dangerous, but this man, this human, he didn't fear her. He didn't even flinch when facing death. Maybe he was weak in body, but not in spirit. She looked at him and said quietly, "Maybe. You're not so weak after all." Jack leaned back against the wall. "And maybe you're not as scary as you think." Jira looked away, but her lips almost curved into a smile. Almost. The next morning, the cave was quiet. Jira sat outside on a tall rock, sharpening her blade again. Her eyes scanned the jungle below, watchful, alert. She didn't trust silence here. Silence usually meant something worse was coming. Inside the cave, Jack coughed. He was still alive. That fact alone bothered her more than it should have. No one survived this jungle. Yet here he was, a human, crashed, bleeding, broken, but breathing. Still joking. Still walking. Jira had seen warriors fall after less. But not him. She stepped back into the cave and dropped a fruit in front of him. He looked at it. "Is that breakfast or bait?" "Eat," she said. Jack chuckled and bit into it without hesitation. "Not bad. Tastes like banana mixed with regret." Jira didn't reply. He chewed slowly. So, what hunts here during the day? Everything, she answered. Jack looked up. Including the thing we killed last night. She stared at him. That wasn't a big one. He stopped chewing. Oh, Jera's eyes flicked toward the shadows. We should move soon. But before she could take another step, a sound echoed through the cave entrance. Crunch. Not just footsteps. Heavy, dragging footsteps. Jera froze. Jack dropped the fruit. Another beast? He whispered. No. Jera stepped toward the mouth of the cave and squinted through the light. Something worse. A shape emerged from the mist. Huge. Scarred. Eyes glowing green. It was another death beast, but unlike any before. Its body was covered in thick armor like scales. Chains hung from its back, like someone once tried to tame it. Failed. Ira's single quotes S grip on her blade tightened. It's a hunter-class death beast, smart, fast, stronger than both of us. Jack limped beside her. So what's the plan? Run. I hate that plan, the beast roared, shaking the rocks. Birds flew out of the trees. The ground cracked. Under its feet, Jera turned to Jack. You can't fight that. You're still healing. But he wasn't listening. Jack dropped the fruit core and rolled his shoulders. She raised her voice. Jack, listen, this isn't bravery. This is suicide. I don't care, he said, picking up a sharp piece of the crashed ship's metal. If we both run, it chases us. If I distract it, maybe you get a clean kill. Jera's chest tightened. You're a fool. Jack grinned. I've been called worse. And then, before she could stop him, he ran straight at the death beast. Jera cursed and followed. But she was slower. Jack reached the monster first. He jumped onto its leg, climbing fast. The beast shook violently, slamming into a tree, but Jack held on. He used the sharp metal to stab between the beast's scales. It howled. Jera took her chance, sliding under it, slashing at its legs. Blood sprayed. The beast crashed down, throwing Jack through the air. He hit the ground hard. Jera didn't look at him. She leapt onto the beast's back, grabbing a broken chain. She climbed quickly and plunged her blade into its spine. The death beast screamed, then went still. Jera stood on top of it, breathing hard. Silence returned. She turned to Jack, who groaned and sat up. You alive? She called. He gave a thumbs up. Barely. She walked over and helped him up, her hand gripping his arm tight. You fought a death beast, she said, with no armor. No weapons, just metal and madness. Jack smiled weakly. You're welcome. You're insane. Probably. They stood in silence for a moment. Jera looked at the giant dead beast behind them. Then at Jack again. No one had ever done that. No one had ever tried that. She had lived years thinking she was the only one strong enough to survive this world. But this man, this human, kept proving her wrong. Again and again. Maybe she wasn't alone anymore. Maybe strength came in many forms. Rain fell softly in the jungle. Not the usual deadly acid rain Jera had grown up with. This one was gentle. It washed the blood from her blade and cleaned the dirt from Jack's face. The two sat near the small fire inside the cave, their clothes wet, their bodies bruised but alive. Jera stared into the flames. For the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about surviving. She was thinking about him. Jack had fought beside her, risked his life for hers. And now he sat beside her, his leg wrapped in jungle cloth, a half-eaten fruit in his hand. He wasn't like the others. He didn't fear her. He didn't flinch when she bled. He didn't run. And worst of all, he understood. Pain. Jack broke the silence. You know what I miss the most? She didn't look at him. What? Coffee. She blinked. Hot, black, bitter coffee, he said, smiling to himself. The kind that smells terrible but wakes you up. I'd give anything for one cup. Jera shook her head. You miss drinks while you're bleeding? Yeah, he said. Humans are weird like that. Pain's normal, but coffee, that's magic. She let out a small sound, a short breath, almost a laugh, he noticed. Did you just laugh? No. She said quickly, yes you did, don't lie, I saw it. She turned her head. Be quiet. But Jack smiled. Not because of her laugh, but because for the first time, he saw a piece of her wall crack. She wasn't just a weapon. She wasn't just a Death Worlder. She was someone. I never asked, Jack said after a moment. How did you end up here? Jera didn't answer at first. Then, slowly she spoke. I was born on Vortex. We don't have seasons, just storms. Creatures eat fire. Trees bleed poison. My parents died before I turned 6. I grew up hiding in holes, killing to eat. Jack's smile faded. I joined a mercenary ship, she continued. They used me, paid me to do dirty work. Said I was perfect for death missions. I was just a tool. Jack looked down. Jera's voice was calm, but the pain sat behind every word. I came here to disappear. No one comes to Caither. It eats people, but it didn't eat me. You made this place your home, Jack said quietly. She nodded. I stopped meeting people. I stopped wanting them. Jack poked the fire with a stick. Until now? Her eyes snapped to him. He raised both hands. Just asking. Jera didn't answer, but her silence was louder than words. Then, Jack rolled up his sleeve. Jera's eyes narrowed. Scars. Dozens of them, some long, some deep. Sunburned. He pointed to one on his chest. Plasma wound. Took out a raider nest. Alone. Another on his arm. Shrapnel. From a mine. Another on his ribs. Beast bite. Lost 2 ribs. Jera looked at him differently now. He wasn't just strong. He was broken, too like her. I guess, he said softly. We both come from places that tried to kill us. Jera whispered, and failed. They sat in silence again, the fire crackling between them. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. ZA. Ira finally spoke. Maybe we're not so different. Jack looked at her. No, he said, we're not. Just then, a voice echoed. Through the jungle. Metallic, robotic, cold. Attention. 2 dangerous individuals have been located. In Zone 7. Authorization to eliminate both has been granted. Approach with weapons ready. Jera stood up fast. Her blade already drawn. Jack stood too, jaw tight. That's not a jungle creature. No, Jera said. That's a kill squad. He looked at her. For you? She shook her head. For us, Jack's eyes hardened. Then they made a mistake. Jera met his eyes, for the first time. She didn't feel alone, and she didn't plan to run. The jungle didn't breathe. It held its breath. Jera stood still, her blade raised, eyes focused on the shadows between the trees. Jack crouched beside her, one hand on the broken pipe he now used as a weapon. Then they heard it. Click. Whir. Crunch. Footsteps, but not normal ones. Heavy, cold, metallic. Jera whispered. Drones. Jack squinted. From who? She didn't blink. The Alien Council. Jack frowned. Why would they send kill drones out here? She finally looked at him. Because they know we exist. What does that mean? She said only one word. War. 3 drones floated out of the fog. Sleek. Black. Each one had a glowing blue eye and a plasma cannon mounted on its side. One of them scanned the area and spoke in a calm, robotic voice. Death Worlder signatures confirmed. Lethal force authorized. Jack stood slowly. So, they're scared of us, Jera nodded. They should be. The first drone fired. Jera leapt to the left, rolling behind a tree. Jack didn't move. He stood his ground and threw his pipe at the drone's cannon. The impact knocked the weapon sideways just before it fired. A tree exploded behind him. Move. Jera shouted. He ducked and ran as the second drone launched a missile. It flew past them and hit the cave behind, destroying everything inside. Their shelter was gone. Jera's heart burned with rage. They want us erased. No trial, no reason. They see us as a threat, Jack growled, ducking behind a rock. So we hit them back. Jera slashed through one drone's side as it flew low. Sparks flew. It spiraled and hit the ground, exploding into metal shards. The remaining two adjusted. Flying higher. One began charging its plasma cannon again. Jack looked around. No weapons, no cover. What now? Jera's eyes burned white. We bring the fight to them. She sprinted toward the tall tree nearby, ran up the trunk, and leaped onto a drone in midair. Her blade stabbed into its eye. The machine screamed like a dying animal and crashed into the jungle floor. Only one drone remained, but it wasn't just watching anymore. It sent out a signal. Jera's face went pale. That was a beacon, she said. It called for backup, Jack cursed. How many? She looked at him. Hundreds. The drone tried to fly off, but Jack hurled a stone and hit its scanner. It turned wildly, and Jera leapt again, slicing it in half. Silence. Then, a red glow appeared in the sky. Jera and Jack looked up. A council ship, not a small one. This one was a battle-class destroyer, built for war. Its symbol, a black circle with 4 red eyes, glowed in the sky like a warning. Jera whispered, "They're not just afraid. They're ready to wipe us out." Jack's voice was calm. "Because if 2 Deathworlders join forces, we become unstoppable," she finished. The sky lit up as more drones rained down in pods, hitting the ground with loud bangs. Jack looked at her. "Can we survive this?" Jera didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Not here." She turned and ran. Jack followed. They moved fast, dodging trees, leaping over roots, the jungle helping hide them from the sky. Behind them, the ground shook as the drones began their sweep. Jera led him to a cliffside waterfall. Without a word, she dove through it. Jack didn't hesitate. He followed. On the other side was a cave, deep, dark, and old. The walls were covered in vines and strange markings. Jack breathed hard. "What is this?" Jera lit a small torch from her belt. "An old war shelter, built by outcasts, left behind and forgotten. Can we hide here?" She shook her head. "No, but we can prepare here." Jack looked at her. "What do you mean?" Jera stared into the shadows of the cave. "There's something inside," she said softly. "Something the council fears even more than us." Jack stepped closer. "What is it?" She turned to him. "An ancient ship." The cave was silent. Not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the kind that hides something sleeping beneath the ground. Jack held the glowing torch high, shadows dancing on the walls. His breath echoed as he stepped deeper into the cave's heart. The air felt heavy. Ancient Zhira walked ahead, blade in hand. Her eyes sharp. They didn't speak. They could feel it. Something powerful was buried here. After a long tunnel, they reached it, a giant metal wall, rusted with time, half buried in roots. Strange alien symbols covered the door. Jera pressed her hand on a glowing circle, and the door shuddered. It opened. A wave of cold air rushed out. Inside was a ship. Not just any ship. It was massive, black and silver, shaped like a bird of prey, and humming, still alive after all these years. Jack stepped forward, eyes wide. "What is this thing?" Jera stared at it. "A war relic, built during the Deathworlder rebellions. My ancestors called it Vora, the World Breaker." Jack blinked. "That's a little dramatic." She looked at him. "It destroyed 3 moons." He shut up. They climbed inside. The ship's systems lit up the moment Jera touched the controls. It responded to her like a sleeping beast waking to its master. Jack looked around. "You know how to fly it?" "No," Jera said. He pointed to the glowing controls. "Then why is it letting you in?" She gave a rare smile. "Because it remembers Deathworlders." Jack walked to the pilot's seat and sat down. Jira raised an eyebrow. What are you doing? I do know how to fly. She didn't move. Are you sure? She asked. He smirked. I crashed my last ship, didn't I? She stared. Fine, he said, lifting the controls. Mostly sure. The engines roared like thunder. Outside, the jungle shook. The cliff above cracked as the ship rose into the air, trees breaking around them. A council drone spotted them. Then another dot, then 20. All sent signals. Jira's eyes narrowed. They know we're coming. Jack leaned back in the pilot's seat. Let them prepare. We're not hiding anymore. The sky turned red as the ship blasted out of the cave, up through the clouds. In orbit. 3 council destroyers floated in space, fully armed. Soldiers shouted in alien languages. Commanders screamed into radios. Fighters launched in waves. 2 Deathworlders are escaping the surface, someone shouted. Destroy them before they reach orbit, Jack laughed. Too late. He pulled the controls sharply. Jira held onto the side rail as their ship twisted through space like a shadow. Laser blasts chased them, but missed. Jack was smiling now. This thing moves like a dream. Jira stepped beside him and touched the weapon console. Time to wake it up. Panels lit up. Cannons emerged from the wings. A deep, ancient voice filled the cockpit. Target locked. World breaker online. Jack grinned. I love this ship. Jira didn't smile. But inside, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hoped that the council ships opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts rained down. Jira shouted, hit the center destroyer first. It's the command ship. Jack nodded and spun the ship. Hold tight. He charged straight into the firestorm. Cannons fired back. The ancient ship roared like a beast reborn. 2 small council fighters exploded. Then another. Then 5 more. Jira launched a missile. It hit the command ship's side, cracking its shield. The enemy panicked. Evade. Deathworlders breached. Orbit. Send reinforcements now. But it was too late. Jack locked on the command ship's core. Jira whispered, let them remember who we are. Jack pressed the trigger. A beam of light shot from beneath their ship, clean, white, and burning with pure energy. Boom. The command ship exploded in a silent wave of fire and broken metal. The other 2 ships tried to retreat. Jira leaned in. No survivors. Jack finished the job. Silence returned to space. Stars glittered around them. Jira looked out the window. We just attacked the council. We just answered them, Jack said. She looked at him. You know what this means? He nodded. They'll send everything they have. Jira gripped her blade. Let them. Jack smiled, tired but proud. So what now? She turned her eyes to the stars. Now, we take the fight to their home world. The sky above the council world turned black. Not from clouds, but from the shadow of one ship. Jira stood at the front of the ancient war vessel, her silver hair blowing behind her. Jack sat in the pilot's seat, calm but ready. Below them, the shining cities of the High Council blinked in confusion. They had never known fear before, but now, fear had come to their door. And it had a name, World Breaker. Jira looked down at the city lights. They called me a weapon, a monster, a mistake. Jack nodded slowly. They tried to erase us, but now, she whispered, they'll hear us. A warning signal flashed on their screen. This is the Galactic Council. Unknown warship, identify yourself or be fired upon. Jack tapped a button. No. That was his only answer. A pause. Then the skies lit up. Council cannons fired from the planet's defense towers, huge beams shooting upward. Jira stepped into the ship's weapon bay. Her fingers moved quickly, awakening the oldest systems. The ship shuddered as cannons locked onto dozens of targets below. She said nothing, but the ship seemed to understand her anger. A full barrage rained down from above. The council's defense towers shattered. The cannons fell silent. Jack flew the ship lower. Hovering just above the capital, Jera opened the communication channel. Her face appeared across every screen in the city, on every ship. Inside every control room, even in the council chamber itself, she spoke slowly, clearly, without emotion. For years you hunted us. You feared our blood, our strength, our nature. You lied to the galaxy. You called us monsters, but today, we are not hiding. Today we give you a choice. The screens flickered inside the council chamber. The aliens trembled. The leaders, tall, proud, and cold, sat frozen in their chairs. Jack appeared beside her on screen. You fear us because we're different, he said. Because we come from worlds you wouldn't survive 5 minutes on. But we're not here to destroy everything. We're here to end the war you started. Then Jera finished. Surrender. Or face what true monsters look like. Silence. Then a signal came back. We surrender. One voice. A female, trembling. A high official. Jera stared at the screen. You will erase every order to hunt Deathworlders. You will free those you've locked away. And you will speak our names with respect. Jack added, and if you don't next time, we won't ask first. The screen went black. Hours later, the ship landed in a quiet valley on a nearby moon. Jera stood beside a small stream, staring at the stars. Jack joined her, holding 2 cups of something hot from the ship's food unit. Closest thing to coffee I could find, he said. She took one, sipped it, wrinkled her nose. Tastes like burnt tree, he grinned. Perfect. They sat in silence. For a while, then she said, I thought I would die alone. Somewhere cold, unmarked. Jack looked at her. Not anymore. She turned her head. Do you think they'll ever stop fearing us? He didn't answer for a moment. Then he said, no, but maybe. They'll start understanding us. Jera nodded slowly. For now, she said. That's enough. Jack raised his cup. To Deathworlders. Jera raised hers too. To the monsters who gave the galaxy a choice. They clinked cups. Above them, 2 stars crossed in the sky, burning bright.